Just about 6 minutes gone past the hour 9. Still, then the extra director of TV was sanctioned my yes. Afi Yemra Ghana speaks in an ear twice no and 1 year day and name no giddy. Na yemko. Tonight Ghana speaks a more you. When you dear ye Jumane hear me na my Ghana speaks, we are on the 7th epistles of Africa, the failed continent. How do we fix it? And tonight, we showcase to our viewers here and around the world how our slave supremacists, how our slave, how our slave supremacists took control over a subset of the African people and subjected them to human torture. And now I dream about Konya. Yeah, white supremacist slave. Wamube slave no enye Ghana nko o. Africa ya mayama bebre ye bowura ho. Ye nkoa. Ye basa. Be wade. Indeed, this white supremacists murdered about half of Congo's population in an estimation of 15 million Africans, both men and women. Slave master ibaye, enye Nigeria, enye Ghana nkwa omu bowura krobi ti se Congo. Na wumura Congo hono, enipa Africans aye kum womono that time. 15 million African people, both men and women, were killed. This white supremacist described his project as, quote, humanitarian project. Now, asem we catch nipa. Nipa we kum omuno or say a humanitarian project. Minim said the mechanic tree. Humanitarian, a would dear to say at that time 15 million we kum omukwa or say a humanitarian project. Tonight, I want us to get some answers. Why this white supremacist can kill millions of Africans and can describe it as a humanitarian project. Take a listen to him. Who is this supremacist? Listen.
Nightfall, this video is not for everyone. It's very drastic and heavy, but Project Nightfall exists to fight for the truth. You're about to meet a man twice as bad as Hitler. But there is a big chance you don't know about him. A man who wanted to own the Philippines, but somehow ended up killing millions of Africans. See, when we talk about the most cruel leaders from the past, we think about Adolf Hitler, who killed way over 6 million people. But there is another monster we forgot to put in the history's Hall of Shame. King Leopold II of Belgium. Leopold II murdered about half of Congo's population. That is an estimated 15 million African children, women and men, and he was killing them in unimaginable ways. So why don't you know about him? What I'm about to say is very sensitive, but it's true. We don't know about Leopold II because he killed people of Africa. Poverty, genocide, wars. For some reason, our world was always less interested in the pain of the African people. But because every life should be seen as equal, Leopold II deserves to be put in history's Hall of Shame. Here is where this horrible story begins. Leopold II knew that Congo was rich in rubber, gold and ivory, three of the most expensive resources at that time. That is when in 1885 he decided to own Congo. And to convince the Belgian government to give him money, Leopold II disguised his slavery as a humanitarian project to convert the Congolese into civilized Christians. And it worked. A whole African country became a private property of just one man. But what he did as an owner for the next 23 years was far from Christian. He forced all natives to dig up gold, killed elephants for ivory and harvest rubber so he could sell them and keep all the profits for himself. And he was incredibly heartless in all of this. Leopold II recruited many Congolese people to torture their own people. He paid a large army of natives to enforce slavery. It didn't matter if you were a man, man, woman, or a child. If you didn't work hard enough, your hands, arms, or legs would be cut off. Just take a look at this man named Nsala staring at the chopped off limbs of his 5-year-old daughter, all because he failed to get enough rubber on that day. In 23 years, because of Leopold II's greed, 15 million people died in horrible ways. Until they finally broke their chains from Belgium in 1960. 60 years later, Belgium has not yet formally apologized for all the atrocities Leopold II did. It only expressed regret for the violence Congo suffered. Millions dead and no apology. Ladies and gentlemen, I expose this horrible part of history only because we never cared enough for people of Africa, and we need to do better than that. Because only when we open our eyes to the terrors of the past, no matter the country or the skin color, only when we expose all the Hitlers of our history by putting them in the history's hall of shame, only then we will be able to say that every life is truly equal.
Great African continent. Africa, the failed continent, how do we fix it? What year? We're here. When we nipa, or hini Ken Leopold, nipa ukumum wasasi so. The atrocities to humanity being seen that. Now, after causing these human atrocities, he further directed missionaries in Africa to change the religious call sign for Africans. This was a letter that changed millions of Africans' mindset into believing the God of the Europeans and not the God of the Africans. And so, Osan Chro Krata, or anyway, Ken Leopold II of Belgium, Ochro krata edi command missionaries from Africa. Assemble no de command missionaries no. O say brand me kasa say Africa for Christianity ye nim be free o. Ye te hwa ne so omdi bi wura na me be kan nsem bi a kire wo. Sa asem we osofo oka bi kire wo da. But osofo na kasa kro oka kire no kro no onte ase. Ono kro nim be bi asem ni free buy. Now let's look at the letter Ohini Troye and down letter from Ken Leopold II of Belgium, the colonial missionaries. My main King just about 2-3 pages. Or say reverence, fathers and dear compatriots. Me patro tia 70 ye education waha. Or say reverence, fathers and dear compatriots. The task that is given to fulfill is very delicate and requires much tact. You would go certainly to evangelize, but your evangelization must inspire above all Belgium interests. Your principal objective in our mission in the Congo is never to teach the niggers to know God. Niggers, why black people. Or say, what we interested is not to teach the niggers to know God. This they know already. That means one more bahano na yenim se de som nyame sa na oka kire or say they speak and submit to a Mungu, one Zambi, and Zinkomba, and what else I don't know. They know that kill, to sleep with someone else's wife, to lie and to insult is bad. Have courage to admit it. You are not going to teach them what they know already. Your essential role is to facilitate the task of administrators and industrials, which means you would go to interpret the gospel in the way it would be the best to protect your interests in that part of the world. For these things, you have to keep watch on disinteresting our savage from the richness that is plenty in their underground. To avoid that, they get interested in it and make you murderers, competition and dream one day to overthrow you. Or see, your knowledge of the gospel would allow you to find texts ordering and encouraging your followers to love poverty. Or say, like quote, happier are those, tiaho, or say happier are the poor because they would inherit the heaven. Leopold na ekasa asem we chire missionaries o meka nchire no mo fantete. Or say happier are the poor because they would inherit the heaven. As of no monta nke bi nchire da wo manmu. Won say aye kasa asofo no de omo ka chire no. Omo say yen nitie eni asasi su na wo heaven. Or say, and quote, it is very difficult for the rich to enter the kingdom of God. What is asking me to pay? Leopold ne catchroms on mechanic and or so you have to detach from them and make them disrespect everything which gives courage to affront us. I make reference to their mystic system and their war fetish, warfare, protection, which they pretend not to want to abandon. And you must do everything in your power to make it disappear. Your action would be directed essentially to the younger ones, for they won't revolt when the recommendation of the priest is contradictory to their parent teachings. The children have to learn to obey what the missionary recommends, who is the father of their soul. What? You must singularly insist on their total submission and obedience. Avoid developing the spirit in the schools. Teach students to read and not to reason. There, dear patriots, are some of the principles that you must apply. You would find many other books which would be given to you at the end of this conference. Evangelize the niggers so that they stay forever in submission to the white colonialists, so they never revolt against the restraints they are undergoing. Recite every day, or say missionaries and recite every day. Quote, happier are those who are weeping because the kingdom of God is for them, unquote. Or say convert always the blacks by using the whip. Keep their women in 9 months of submission to work freely for us. Force them to pay you in sign of recognition goats, chicken, or eggs every time you visit their village. Or say, and make sure that niggers never become rich. Sing every day that it is impossible for the rich to enter heaven. Make them pay tax each week at Sunday Mass. Use the money supposed for the poor to build flourish business centers. Institute a confessional system which allows you to be good detectives, denouncing any black that has a different consciousness contrary to that of the decision maker. Teach the niggers to forget their heroes and to adore holy hours. Ati wasum. Anything I make catch mu bibi abesen ko say tight tia asori bi enyai. E bibi beba ye ba back ni ye be ya asofo na expose no a ye be part 2 no a me kire mu. Me say tight tia asori bi enyai. Yet was say never present a chair to the black that comes to visit you. That means ye ba omoncha mo mo man kunwa me entra so. Or say don't give more than 1 cigarette. Never invite him for a dinner, even if he gives you a chicken every time you arrive at his house. Quote, the above speech, which shows the real intention of the Christian missionary journey in Africa, was exposed to the world by Mr. Mukwani Bukoko, born in the Congo in 1915, and who is in 1935, while working in the Congo, bought a second-hand Bible from a Belgian priest who forgot the speech in the Bible, Dr. Chidozie Okoro. We should note, 1, that all missionaries carried out and still carry out that mandate. We are only lucky to have found Ken Leopold's articulation of the aim of all Christian imperialist missionaries to Africa. 2, even the African converts who today manage the older church in Africa, the priests, bishops, archbishops, cardinals, etc. of the Roman and Protestant sects, and especially also those who evangelize born-again Christianity, still serve the same mandate, which is why they demonize African gods and angelize African names and drop the names of African deities which form parts of African names and still attack and demolish the African shrines that have managed to survive, etc. Okija. When say to me be a Africa bia, and when we demonize yen, whom need to me a Africa and say, Ayabosum. Or see those Africans who voluntarily converted to Christianity before the colonial conquest, such as Afonso I of the Bakongo in the 15th century, probably did not discern the purpose of the brand of Christianity that was supplied to them, which was probably welfare as easy and quite detailed. But the notes we ebeto. Then quickly we come to what we ask the chief of staff, any nimpenimfo, any president say, Womunti and Ghana speaks. And I titled this segment, The Hidden Secrets at the Office of the Presidency. Again tonight, for the past weeks, Ghana Speaks has been revealing some top secrets hidden from the presidency. And we have called on the attention of the chief of staff, the secretary to the cabinet, and the president respectfully make some time for us on this segment. Indeed, what we can be very disturbed in this world. And he say, Ubetimia army u enemy. Na u enemy no, u army ni we are. Whatever would the army enemy say a knife for you too, the enemy will come back at you and finish you. Now, it is so serious indeed, as I say, sir. Any minute destroy we are who need a second chance to come to say, sir, I want to correct the wrong. For the past weeks, we have been chronicling the events surrounding one of the longest serving chief executive under this republic, and I stand to be corrected, in the person of one Mr. Jones Bote Aple, Executive Secretary, National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons. Ghana for Besha on Ghana Speaks. Ya Danioma Edibebre, documents upon document, allegations of corruptions, more to come. Tonight, we want to zero down on him much well and also make some information available to Mr. President and high-ranking government officials at the presidency. Yekewi ade amobeye no yewie. Man yehwe wo ho so a ye de yewie. Mr. Jones Bote Aple comes from a home. Metremu baby ofri, and who is this individual or that TV set is so? The picture ne down. Mr. Jones Bote Aple comes from a home of one Mr. Jacob Aple Terrier. Mr. Jacob Aple Terrier, ne papa, that's the father of Papa Yodaf Eyisui. Ne papa ene Jacob Aple Terrier, who stood as a parliamentary candidate at Krowa Nungwa constituency in the 1992-1996 as the 4th Republican Constitutional Chassis, and won that parliamentary seat on the ticket of the National Democratic Congress. Yes, National Democratic Congress ticket so and ne papa oye den papa ye oda way ne papa ye friend Jacob Aple Terrier stood on the National Democratic Congress ticket so 1992-96 and won that seat. And I tell you, sir, Otina sa akunya so 4 years no 10-1 and we free so. Then who came next? Joshua Alabi contested that seat. Mr. Jacob Aple Terrier, father of Jones Bote Aple, was also the former executive secretary Emma Psychiatric Hospital. And I am asking National Security Organization by close of tomorrow, Monko check these facts. I want to demonstrate to Mr. President the household of where Papa Ifriba politically, and if it's worth the NPP to keep such a person in that office for 12 years without appointment from presidency. And I ask, how can you arm your enemy so well enough? Number 2, There is one gentleman by name Seth Bedu Teria. Seth Bedu Teria became the municipal chief executive. Emma Lekma. Lekma here. Before answer, Lekman, on obey chief executive. Emma Lekma in the ex-war John Dramani Mahamad's administration. Question: who is this man Seth Bedu Teria? Seth Bedu Teria is the younger brother of Jacob Apple Teria, a father of Papa Yoda screen is Jones Bote Apple. Ne papa ni nua ketwa en obeye municipal chief executive ewo Lekma in Mahamad's government. Munko check records no. Number 3, another brother of Mr. Jacob Apple. Papa Yoda screen is ne papa your friend Jacob Apple no. Ni nua penny, bema penny, neba, your friend Bote Blowman. Bote Blowman attempted to contest the seat Aya Crow Nungwa constituency in 2016. Yeah, Munko check it. On the ticket of the National Democratic Congress, and National Security can verify this. And the last one. Now, another interesting one here. Mr. Jones Bote Apple, whose father is Mr. Jacob Apple Teria. Now, Mr. Jacob Apple Teria's senior sister, Papa way or that screen is we. Ne papa, ni nua ba penny, a friend of mine. Botele's son, Botele, ni nua ba penny no. Neba, the police commissioner, or if you like, the commissioner of Ghana Police, your friend is Christian Tete Yehunu. Christian Tete Yehunu, who is also the board member of Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons. Hello, what is going on here? Enti, Papa your other screen is Jones Bote Apple. One Commissioner of Police, Christian Tete Yehunu, omo ye de Mr. President, Madam Chief of Staff, Secretary to the Cabinet, I am done, respectfully. Now, Makachremo say allegations go on a door some map paper no that screen is. Ne office, top NDC officials be holding meetings. I am not surprised, and I am not surprised that today former President Mahama Beka said 2023 or 20 whatever elections arms, illegal arms, Ghana, Jones Apple or Danwa S washe. Ma otumi o maye hu total arms a ebegu o mayimu a illegal arms. Mumi say what who report saying. Bidi mo be see her. Next week Monday, I'll give you yet another shocking revelations. And I asked the MPP, what is wrong with this government called MPP? What is wrong? 12 years this man has been in that office without any appointment from each of these presidents. On three regimes. It will be any MPP boom. Now, how can you arm your enemy to this very dangerous expedition? Do you know what is coming? Mr. President, it is possible that somebody is misinforming that high office or otherwise, meaning what you are doing. But until the day the alarm bells will ring, I will come back and tell you more. More to come in subsequent bulletins. This has been Ghana Speaks with Kwaku Annan.